Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Crush and Climb. I'm Jason McClain, and I'm the guy who drinks wine with you, finding new ways for us to crush it and climb forward into new doors that we work with each and every day. So today, I'm excited to take you into something kind of fun and kind of exciting. If you've ever been that person, that individual, who has a season in their life where you had no choice but to sleep in your car. You had no choice but to try to find a path out of the darkness and the demons of the moment in time. If you're that guy, that gal who says, you know what, it was a rough season for a while, but I found a way forward. No matter what point in life that was, what did that do for you? So today, my guest is a guy named Joshua Roache, who is a genius when it comes to marketing. He has engaged more platforms, more programs when it comes to developing new solutions for his life. But more importantly, it wasn't just the marketing programs he engaged, it was his lifestyle. It was what he ate. It was how he slept, where he went. And it took the stories of his life. When someone told you you weren't good enough, someone told you you could not make it, someone told you you should go back to bed and watch Oprah, Josh was one of those guys who turned around and says, no, I will not go quietly into that good night. I will rage against the dying of the light. And his story is inspirational. So if you're an entrepreneur, this story is for you. If you are a person with a dream of building a new idea, a new concept, or a new business, this is for you. If you're that guy, that gal who says, I'm looking for building something that is balanced in the world for my life, then this story is for you. Josh opens up a Pandora's box of opportunities and challenges, and he shows you exactly how he gets through them. We're going to go to a live studio audience today, and we're going to walk you through on the set of Life Can Change what exactly it is that we were doing and we were dealing with every day when we realized that we didn't have what we needed. We had to find a new path forward. And to do that one, we're introducing to you California Dreamin'. That's right, McClain Cellars' amazing rosé. Now this rosé is not sweet. I've never been a guy who likes sweet wines. I apologize, I'll say it clearly and directly to anyone who will listen, I don't like sweet wines. Was that out loud? I don't know, but maybe it should have been. I don't like sweet wines. A Cabernet Sauvignon rosé is off dry. It allows for something unique and different into a wine, so it's not going to be very sweet. I love the textures, and when you smell it and you engage it, you'll pick up the characteristics of a Syrah or a Cab Sauv or Petit Syrah, something that's a little bigger, a little bolder, but in a very soft and a very delightful dry rosé. So it's called California Dreamin', and let me tell you why. California Dreamin' is one of those wines that is a story about coming to the state, going west. Go west, young man, as you've been told. And Josh Roache tells that story about his world, his journey, coming and engaging and living in this world in California. And I can tell you, he's been here his whole life, and more importantly, it's as if he just arrived when you hear his story. So for California Dreamin', my friends, let's raise our glass. Let's go in from a live studio audience here on Crush and Climb, and let us open up the pearly gates and enjoy the nectar of the gods on Life Can Change with the guru himself, Josh Roache. Cheers. Hi, and welcome to Life Can Change. I'm your host, Jason McClain. Today's guest is an amazing individual who's overcome so many amazing odds. Imagine this, your life living in a 1996 Honda Civic. That's right, living out of the back of your car as a teenager. Take that story at the very, very beginning of his life, having no money, living in poverty, and all of a sudden, as life goes on and it begins to change, he becomes the chief marketing officer of a major organization, starts his own consulting organization, and begins living the life he was determined to live. Be right back, and I will show you how your life can change. Hi, I'm Jason McClain. You ever made one of those commitments or a pledge to yourself? Let's say you want to lose weight, earn more money, or just make a change in your life. One of the big reasons we seem to fail at our goals is because we don't seem to focus 100% to get the job done. Research shows that the average attention span of a goldfish is 9 seconds. Well, according to Microsoft, the average attention span of a human being is only 8 seconds. Yes, a goldfish actually has a higher attention span than a human being. If we're unable to focus on any one thing, how do we expect to truly achieve our goals? The solution is to take it one step at a time, like eating an apple, one bite at a time. Number one, turn off your cell phone notifications. Number two, on your computer, minimize all applications and everything else you're working on and just focus on one task. The more you focus, the more you can be assured that you'll complete the task. Never quit, don't give up. It's all about your abilities to meet the task at hand. All right, and we're back. You know, my guest today is Joshua Roache. Josh, welcome to Life Can Change.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm glad that you're here. You know, you've got an amazing story. I mean, I just a moment ago mentioned a little detail about it, but imagine your life homeless. Imagine what life would look like if you had no place to hang your hat, but you're not an adult. You're not an individual who has either been to college for many years, or you've got different degrees, or you've had some major tragedy. You're a kid. You're a teenager. What would life look like if you were living in the back of a van? How would you turn that around? How would you turn your life around living homeless as a kid? But you did it.
I did.
Tell us your story.
So to understand my story, you got to backtrack a little bit. And I want to start by saying I always felt like an imposter, and that served me very well. And why I say that is because I grew up in a very affluent area, Orange County, California, which is very affluent. I was not affluent. And when I was born, my mother actually raised me for the first 2 years of her life by myself on a dirt road behind a dive bar with a 6-unit rundown apartment complex. My family, my mom's side of the family is largely impoverished. I did not come from means. She married my stepfather and we moved to Orange County, and still, we were not of great means. My stepfather owns an automotive shop. My mom works as a teacher's assistant. So we were living in a very affluent area. And so I always felt like an imposter because all of my friends had very rich parents with rich houses. When they were 16, they were getting brand new luxury vehicles. I always felt like this imposter. And when I was 18, as a result of this, I had gotten into some trouble when I was a teenager and just felt very displaced. And by the time I was 18, I'd been living on my own for a long time. And I was living in the 1996 Honda Civic that my parents had bought for me for $2,000 because they didn't want me staying at the house any longer because I was getting in trouble. So I lived in this car, and I didn't look at it this way at the time, but I think this is what served me. As a result of feeling like an imposter my whole life and getting along well, I had lots of friends and did fine. I used that skill, as I would call it, as a tool to become an imposter in the business world until I was actually real. And what I mean by that is this. When I started in the career path that I chose, which is online marketing, I had gotten a sales job at an online marketing company, and I knew nothing about online marketing. I had no sales experience. And the one thing that I did know is that I was at a disadvantage because I did not have formal education. I had barely graduated high school, and I had absolutely zero experience in what I was doing. I did know one thing, though, that if I got better results than everybody else that I worked with, I could excel.
Wow.
So my life's purpose, or my life's objective now, is not trading my time for money. It's not working harder than anybody else. It's getting better results than everybody else.
That's pretty deep there, Josh. I mean, I've seen a lot of people come on to this stage and tell their stories, and we've listened to a lot of great people speak. And when you tell me something like that, where it says, in essence, your life can change by getting better results. So you didn't really care that you didn't have a formal education. It wasn't important to you. And when you walked into the business world, it wasn't important at all that you had the credentials, you had the skill set, you had the ability. How did you block your mind, literally block your mind out of poverty, where you are? I mean, there's an anchor that goes onto our bodies, onto our minds, onto our souls. We all have an anchor, right? And that anchor is your past. I mean, you ever walk into a room sometimes, you feel like you've got the world on your shoulders, right? Because no one knows what just happened. Right. No one knows that you're literally going to work every single day out of that car. No one knows your deep, dark secrets, right? Those secrets, those demons. How did you literally overcome the fact that you know that you're living in a car? You know you have no idea how to do online marketing. You know that you could be found out at any moment as an imposter, as a fraud, because someone might find out that what you did last week is going to come out and change your life.
That was true for the first half of my adult life, and there's a quote which somebody we saw speak, somebody I saw speak recently had quoted this, and it's actually a quote that I've known about for a long time, and I've kind of lived my life by. If somebody asks you to do something that you're not qualified to do or you don't know how to do it, you accept and learn how to do it after. And that's what I did. And I didn't know. Again, this is all hindsight. I wasn't being intentional about this at that time. Now I live my life intentionally, having this knowledge and this experience and this maturity. At the time, there was one thing I wanted more than anything else, and it wasn't money. It was freedom. And I had grown up in an environment where I saw the restrictions that being impoverished put on you.
Sure.
You can't do what you want. You can't do it when you want. You can't go where you want. There's a lot of things that you cannot do when you don't have the means to do it. So I wanted more than anything in the world, which is still my number one thing in life. This is what I work for, what I'm trying to achieve, and my message to other people is that we should all be working to have the freedom to do what we want, when we want, where we want, but more importantly, to not have to spend our life doing the things that we don't want to do.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Thank you.
You know, you seem to be somewhat balanced. I mean, you've got an interesting past, it was a difficult past, you've overcome it. Tell me how you made the final leap. I mean, you went from, living on the bottom all the way to what is more comfortable. And I want to go down that road in a moment with you, but the one thing I want to find out from you is the word balance, because when you're trying to achieve your dreams and you're saying, I want to change my life, the first thing you want to do is, how do I find balance? How do I find that one place that I can be comfortable every single day to really turn the obstacles I've got into an opportunity? Because I think, and tell me if you agree or not, that the balance we have in our lives gives us the fuel to continue going forward. I mean, if you want to be a good mom or a good dad or a good spouse or a good brother or a good sister or a good friend, you got to have some balance. If not, you kind of empty out. Right. So tell me how you found balance to go from where you were in the most difficult place to where you are today.
So that's an interesting question, and for two reasons. The first of which is that I'm a natural risk taker, and this is largely the reason I got in so much trouble when I was in high school. This is largely the reason I ended up living in a car when I was 17 years old and 18 years old. I took a lot of risks that didn't pan out because they were ill-advised risks, they were unhealthy risks, they were unassessed risks. They were just actually me not being in control of myself and just acting on whatever impulse came to mind at the time.
Sure.
So the first reason balance was something that I had to work extra hard on is because I'm a natural risk taker, so I had to learn how to tame that and channel it properly. The second reason is that without proper education and without experience, in order to be better than everybody else, I had to be extremely disciplined. I had to be extremely disciplined in getting the knowledge that I needed on my own time. I had to be extremely disciplined over the thoughts that I was having, over my actions, over the way that I was behaving, over the way that I was fitting in to the outside world, and over the results that I was getting. So what I learned very early on was that in order to do that, one of the most important things that I do still today is I have a routine every morning. And I picked up, when I was like 19 years old, I picked up the practice of just basic breath meditation, which calms you down, enables you to think more clearly, gives you much more control over what's going on in your internal state. And that was critical for me. And I have the same routine every morning that I've had for the last 10 or 11 years, and that is I get up in the morning, and I try to get up before everybody else is up. I like to feel like I get a head start on the day. Now, again, there are times where you get out of balance a little bit and you got to bring yourself back in, but largely, I get up in the morning, I practice meditation, and I am very intentional about who I'm going to show up as today and what I'm going to get done today.
Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. I've seen a recurring theme quite consistently where a lot of people who are going through obstacles or going through a challenge, when they put on their armor, when they stand up and they say, I'm ready to face today or face the world or face my challenge, the common theme I'm seeing is they start their day in the morning. Do any of you guys do that consistently? Yeah. You do that? Yeah. So I think it's one of the things that we can learn from Josh is getting up in the morning, starting off with a plan and executing that plan. Because if we don't execute that plan, the truth is life happens to us. Right. I mean, do you find when you're going through this entire process, if you're changing your life, you're metamorphosizing, do you find, as many of us probably have, that you have a choice? Yeah. A choice that says, I'm going to let life happen to me, or I'm going to control my life every single day. And this is something that we react to a lot. I found a lot of times in my times, and you tell me if you agree, that quite consistently, people allow life to happen. They allow it to just control them. And when you wake up in the morning, do you look at your phone? Do you look at your phone and ask the question, okay, what email am I going to get? What response do I have to give? Am I going to have a bad email or a good email? Am I going to have a good phone call or a bad phone call? You're kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. And that's a mentality that a lot of people have. And when you're in an obstacle, when you're facing an adversity, a difficulty, you've got a choice to make. A choice that says, am I going to face this day on purpose and control my day? Or am I going to allow my day to control me? I think the decision happens before you go to bed.
Yeah, it does. Well, and that was something I realized very early on, and that was actually one of the few things I did know for sure when I was doing it when I was younger. And I'll give you an example. So I've always known that there's a difference between the majority of people allow life to happen to them and ask why they're a victim of it. And I always saw the difference between that because I grew up in it. My whole mom's side, like my whole family, it was like life, they were a victim of circumstance. And then I saw, because I was brought to a more affluent area when I was young, I saw business owners and I saw entrepreneurs and I saw these people. So when I first started working in the business world, it wasn't that I wanted to be behind the closed doors with the people who were in charge. It was that I was upset that I wasn't because I felt like I should have already been there. And my sole determination at that time was to get to the top and be the best at whatever it was I was doing. And I did that then. I did online consulting, had my own business, several online e-commerce companies, and then working with an amazing online marketing company and starting out at the bottom-ish, but I came in with a skill set, and within a few years being the right-hand man and one of the senior executives in the company.
That's amazing.
But it was intentional.
Good job.
I did that intentionally, and I made it happen. I didn't show up to any of these jobs or any of these businesses that I was involved in and wait to see what happened.
Right. You took control.
Right.
You took control 100% and
Right.
said, it's your job.
Yeah.
You're going to take control and do it.
Yeah.
So, all right. In the time we've got left, I got a really important question for you. Ready for this one?
I'm ready.
This is a big important one, because if you mess it up, I don't know what to do. I'm going to cry.
Let's hear it.
Take everything you've done in your life. Take every obstacle, every challenge you faced, and give the advice that you would give to somebody going through the same thing. Right now, if you're in a place where your life is rocky, you're in a place where you're not sure how the day will end up. You've got a lot of good things going on. You've got a lot of good pluses going on. You've got a lot of good solutions happening today.
There's good, but every once in a while, and sometimes more often than not, there's something challenging you. And that's the one thing that we want to talk about here on Life Can Change. I want you to tell our audience and tell those at home, what advice would you give to them if they are finding themselves in a similar situation where their back is against the wall? What do they do right now, practically, to get out of where they are?
That's as you were asking that question, 3 very clear steps popped into my mind, and this is.
Tell me.
I've never really thought about this question before, but it was immediately clear to me. There's 3 things I would tell anybody to do who's in my position or a similar position, and it starts with this. Almost any successful person that you talk to that came from nothing or had the odds stacked against them will tell you this. They just they willed it into existence. They made it happen. In spite of the fact that it looks like it should not have happened, or people told them they were crazy, but I had a friend one time when I was like 20 years old. I was sitting there and I told him exactly how much money I wanted to make per month, and he looked at me like I was crazy. And within 2 years, him telling me I was crazy made me want to do it so much more that within 2 years I was making that same amount of money, and I had that conversation with him. So you have to start with your mindset, and first of all, you have to know that you can make whatever it is that you want to happen. It's actually possible to make it happen. So you have to start with knowing that you can make it happen. And the second thing is to get a plan, and the third is to execute on that plan every day.
So it's a reset. It's a constant reset.
Right.
So what you did today, this is an interesting thing. A lot of people run down the road, I think, where they just kind of find a wall. And they think that I do something right now today. You guys have probably done this one. If I make a decision today, it's all going to be okay. But tomorrow, I got to do it again.
Yeah.
And I got to do it again. I got to do it again. Josh, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So thank you for joining me on this amazing edition with Joshua Roache here on Life Can Change. And remember one important thing. No matter what it looks like today, tomorrow the sun's going to rise. Tomorrow you've got a chance to start again. And remember, whatever actions you go through today to get things on the right path, you got to do it again tomorrow, because every single day brings a new opportunity, a new blessing, and a new path for your personal freedom. We'll see you. Say something.
Thank you for joining entrepreneur, author, speaker, and winery owner, Jason McClain, on the Crush and Climb podcast. Here, we hammer raw experience into wisdom, helping you not just bounce back, but bounce forward with new strength. To continue the journey and build a life that's not just successful, but significant, subscribe to Crush and Climb wherever you get your podcasts. Let's raise a glass to the journey.